Hello, Scottsdale. Kevin and Don, we're back with you again for another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale. Kevin, what's going on, buddy?
It's getting hot, Don.
It's getting hot. You know, it's getting hot in the studio right now. You know what that is?
Yeah.
We have a powerhouse.
Yeah.
We have a powerhouse in the studio. We have a powerhouse with us today. We've been waiting for her for a long time.
Yeah.
She's been on our list for like 2 years. And so we finally got her. And
She's a busy woman, that's why.
She's a busy woman. That's what we're here to talk about today. Her name is Shea Najafi. She's founder of Scottsdale Women Rising, which is an overhaul powerhouse when it comes to community activism in Scottsdale. Among other things, she hosts a Civics 101 happy hour, when I think you got one coming up, don't you, Shea? Pretty soon.
Just wrapped one up. Yep.
You just wrapped one up, okay. And that's all about designing to make the goal of making civic education accessible and engaging for the community. And she's a big supporter of the Scottsdale Unified School District as well. She's everywhere where it counts. Shea, welcome.
Such nice words.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
It's all downhill from here. No, this is great, Shea. I think lots of people know you, but I always love opening these podcasts with getting a little personal background. You know, go back to where you grew up and how you got to where you are now, because we usually end up with a couple surprises when we do that, don't we?
Yeah.
So where did you grow up and how'd you get here?
Tell us about the 505 area code. How'd you get here?
Oh, well, yeah. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and went to U of A for college. That's where I met my husband in the dorms. And then we ended up popping around all over the country. He's a trauma surgeon, so his training took us from California to New York and everywhere in between. At one point, we had lived in 7 states and 11 apartments or rentals in a matter of about 14 years.
Already things I did not know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have not got the chance to do much traveling outside of the United States, but man, we have lived a lot of different places. Yeah. But so we lived in California back in 2016. We decided, we moved here in 2017, just wanting to be able to afford things that we couldn't afford in California.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going
with a
on.
growing family. And we had some family here, so we thought, well, let's just land here. And I obviously, when I got here, it was in 2017, right after Trump had been elected, and it was time for me to find my people, because at that time, I didn't know much about Arizona, so I really felt like I was in the Wild West and everybody was packing heat.
Yeah.
And so I started attending my local Democrat meetings, a couple nonpartisan ones, such as Indivisible. And as wonderful as they are, at that point, I was 38 years old, in tote with, little ones at that point, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I felt a little bit out of place. They weren't, most people that are really engaged are 65 and older. Mm-hmm. So for a 38-year-old mom with a little one, it just didn't feel like my spot. Not to mention, I didn't understand what they were saying. I didn't understand the lingo. I cared about lots of the issues, but just truly walked away feeling quite ignorant. And as I would try to get my friends to come out with me and join me, many of them would not return, because they too just didn't quite feel like it was their spot. So that's why I started the Civic 101 Happy Hours. My background is event production. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of big events in New York and California, and so I know how to throw a good party. I know what gets people out of the house, and thought, well, let me just put these skills to work. And so we started hosting Civic 101 Happy Hours out of the house.
We've been to a few of those parties, haven't we? She's right about that.
You know what's really good about they have the good palomas are so good.
Yes, Cave's famous palomas.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, so what kind of big events were you doing back east?
Oh, gosh, I worked for a couple different event designers. I got to do some great events for Oprah. I did.
You did?
I did. My big one was
Did she give you a car?
She did not give me a car. I did the opening of Madame Butterfly.
Really?
That was at the Met.
Broadway.
That was pretty amazing. I got to do that big event. So I've got to do some really, really fun things. My background is interior design, which then I really put into event design. But those skills of like, what are all the elements that make someone want to, for a mom, mm-hmm. people in my age who, how do I get them out of the house? Well, what are the things that make them want to come to an event? Good music, good cocktails, good food, mm-hmm. Inspirational people around them, right. Just joy, information, something of meaning. Like, those are all the elements that you want to be a part of that make it worth paying $15 an hour for a babysitter.
Right. Right.
And if it's
more than that now, probably.
And while,
right?
again, I'm so grateful for so many of these great organizations, moms in that age bracket don't want to pay $15 an hour to go to a meeting. So that was my goal of getting more and more people engaged, and it's been fun, a lot of fun.
Kevin, when we start doing some events, which we just might do, now we know who to go to help plan them, right?
Yeah.
So be careful what you tell us.
Oh, I'm always
we may
happy
come
to host
running
events.
back your way.
Happy to.
I mentioned the Palomas at their house, but they have a good charcuterie board as well. Pretty mean.
I think I've seen some of that.
Yeah.
I think I probably sampled some of that. Yeah.
And my trick is I lure them in with cocktails and food, and then I often call it like a party with a purpose. You pause the party to educate them on something, an issue or a candidate, and I've been blessed to have everybody from school board, city council, all the way up to governor, secretary of state, and people are starting to catch on and realize that it's all part of it's all on us to be a part of civics.
She's got a reputation now.
Yeah, she really
a good
does.
one.
Good.
For putting good stuff together. So that's awesome. But speaking of putting good stuff together, so now you've got this thing, Scottsdale Women Rising. Tell us about that. What was the inspiration to start that? And tell us what it's all about.
Well, the goal was, what it really came down to is that back in October, November, I was hosting an event every 2 weeks. And so I was just exhausted and thought I need to be able to reach this audience without waking up the next morning to 100 wine glasses in my kitchen. So
That's not easy.
that was really the effort. And so knowing that we need to have a presence online, and so we do Zooms every 2 weeks. We actually have one tomorrow. We have a wonderful lobbyist, education lobbyist, Alexis Sussdorf is going to be joining us tomorrow. And so every 2 weeks we have a Zoom, and then we have once a month an in-person happy hour. And let me tell you how badly people were itching to get in community together. Our very first happy hour that we hosted, and it was really put out to a very broad group, not just the people that come to my happy hours. It was a very broad group, and I tend to do things last minute sometimes, and I put out the announcement about 5 days in advance, and we got about 60 women.
Really?
60 women out to our very first happy hour.
fantastic.
Now, I know you guys know that's incredible, because when you go, and that's 60 women that were really mostly in the age bracket of about 40.
Yeah.
And that is almost impossible to get that age group to show up and really, so it shows you that they're ready. And I know that people have talked about there was a class of 2017 in which more and more people were getting engaged in what's going on in our world of politics. And there was a big rise. I am one of I'm part of the class of 2017. I did nothing politically. I had no engagement in any way. I'm going to fess up. I didn't vote till Obama. My mother never voted a day in her life. And so it was the very first time that I said, well, I thought other people had this handled. And I didn't like the way the country was going. And so I got involved. And so a lot of other politicos have told me, no, there was absolutely a wave of volunteers in the class of 2017. And there is the same thing happening the class of 2025. Majority of these women that are showing up have never been involved in anything politically or been paying attention. Definitely did not be, they weren't voting down ballot. And so this is new to them. And so it's sort of baby steps to bring them in and give them a spot and help them find whatever their issue is. And not that we're going to handle everyone's, whatever their issue is, whether it's education or women's rights or the environment, but we know who to connect them to and get them on their way and let them fly.
I love about this, Kevin, it's grassroots.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the more grassroots organizations that can get formed and have success and just start activating people, that's how we take care of the mess we're in right now.
I tell you what, Don, I think about this all the time. If you are in Scottsdale and you have kids in SUSD, and you know what has been going on in the district, you have got to have a huge debt of gratitude to Shea, and she's going to tell you about her friends and her team. They're certainly important. Everybody's important. I believe Shea and her team are single-handedly responsible for the harmony that we have right now in the school board. We'd be in bad shape if the 3 elected new board members were not elected, and her and her team are almost single-handedly responsible for that.
Totally get it. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the makeup on the district board that we have now. So congratulations.
Thank you. It was a lot of work. We knew what we were up against. Former board members that took the seats previously, Werner and Carney, they'd been given $52,000 each to get those seats. And so we knew, okay, we're ready this time. Now we know. And we raised over $170,000 for 3 candidates together that we ran as a
That was
slate.
the total was?
That's
Wow.
170,000. Yeah.
See, that's dollar for dollar right there.
Denny Brown, I think he ran for $800.
Yeah.
Is that right? What?
Yeah.
To Eva, you mean, or what?
No, for when he ran for school board.
Oh, ran for school
Yeah.
board. Okay,
Was it
right, right.
800
15, 20 years ago.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
gosh, it's crazy the money it takes now in any election.
Yeah,
you know?
it blew my mind, and I've ran 2 overrides with the help of Denny Brown and Melinda Gulick and Patty Beckman, and running those overrides, you just don't realize how much it takes to reach voters, and those run approximately $80,000. We ran 2, and one in 2022 and 2023, and so I at this point I'm 3 years in of campaigning for SUSD, and I'm not gonna lie, we're ready to pass the torch. Our team has been working very hard, but we are ready to mentor and pass the torch. So any of you out there
For
interested,
educational issues or for about congressional?
to work
stuff
on
like
to work on the campaigns for
Okay.
SUSD. Most of my team are going to be working on council, some congressional race. I'm starting a PAC. So
That's exciting.
so that's where I would really like to now mentor other individuals who are ready to step up for.
I think that is exactly the right way to go.
Yeah.
You've already done your thing. Now, can you teach others how to replicate that and continue this movement out and spread it out wider amongst other groups? That makes total sense.
The key is also, our candidates. I'm sure you guys had them all on, from Donna, Matt, and Mike on our school board.
Yep.
They're such outstanding candidates and such a high level of professionals that the truth is we couldn't have gotten them had we not been able to recruit them with the fact that we had such a robust team. And so as professionals, they were busy, full-time working, and to say we'll be able to handle this finances and marketing and your graphic designs and your filing your reports and all these different elements that then made it possible for them to be able to run. And so it's really key. A lot of people have efforts in running candidate boot camps. And I really wish they would focus a little bit more on really just campaign boot camps. Anybody that wants to work on a campaign.
Good point.
Because there's as much value in the campaign team, and the idea of asking an individual to wear all those different hats and be the right candidate for the spot, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
What was harder? Because you identified 3 candidates and really kind of out and recruited them and vetted them and had lots and lots of conversations with lots of people in this community. What was harder, identifying the candidates that you wanted to eventually stand behind, or getting them over the finish line once you had them identified?
Oh, I guess it's just comparing apples to oranges. It's so different. Well, I will say we went through about 11 different candidates. We knew what we were up against here in Scottsdale and the narratives that are out there around SUSD, and so we and the numbers aren't in our favor as far as the registration of Republicans versus Democrats. Right. So we really had to focus on getting great moderate individuals who, of course, they go into us going, this is nonpartisan. This is, and unfortunately, in fact, we had one who was a Republican, and we had to express that person had to move to become a Democrat because the power is in the people. The power is in the parties of the people, because those are the people that are volunteering and working. I wish it could be a nonpartisan issue, but we just know it truly is. Doesn't work that way. This is the game we have to play, and these are the rules. And so the truth is that we got lots of support, but we really focused on getting a lot of support of some really great Republicans, because again, we ran 3 candidates that were all about professionalism. You have Matt Patinsky or Mike Sharkey, who's the head of IT at ASU and data, right. And I mean it's all about. And then of course Donna Lewis, who was a previous superintendent. Yeah. So. For them, it was about their experience is what they brought to the table. It wasn't about their political views. Mm-hmm. And so we just reminding them to stay in their lanes. This is not about gun reform. It's not about women's rights. Yeah. It's about education.
Education. Hello, people.
It's about education. And they were very disciplined in their messaging, and that was cool.
It worked. Back to the money issue for a second. A good friend of mine just announced that he's running for Congress in District 1. Rick McCartney.
Oh, I would love to meet him. Get him to call me.
I will. He went to his campaign launch last night, and he was talking about what it's going to take just to get out of the Democratic primary. He's thinking $1 million, and that's before you get to the general.
100%, absolutely.
So it's crazy money that you got to raise right now just to move one step at a time further down the road. I'll hook Rick up with you. I think he'd be a great
That's why I'm starting a PAC to take out Schweikert.
Yeah, well, that's his goal too. But I've known Rick forever, and it was a pleasure to see him put his hat in the ring. So But money, man, that's what it takes, and you got to pull it in. So what are some of the issues outside of education that you're focusing on, whether it's through your group with Scottsdale Women Rising or just through your other activities?
Well, again, it's really about through Scottsdale Women Rising. I just sent out a newsletter today, so it's educating so many that haven't been paying attention. And so I'd like to scoot back a little bit and tell you about why it's so important to educate this demographic. Mm-hmm. Some people don't like this, but I'm going to tell you my viewpoint. If that's okay.
Let's hear your viewpoint.
That's why you're here. Bring it on.
So when you go to these different events, Republican, Democrat, and nonpartisan, you'll see the majority of people are 65 and older. And that is because, in my opinion, my generation hasn't had to do the hard work. They haven't had to do the heavy lifting. And so they just haven't put that into a part of their life. We didn't have to protest the Vietnam War. We didn't have to fight for women's rights. We didn't have to fight to be in the workplace. We didn't get paid the same, but we were welcome into the workplace. Mm-hmm. And so I have to almost say that muscle has really never built. It's atrophied. That's just not something they've had to fight for. We've all had our challenges and our struggles, but being civically engaged is something that I think so many other generations have grown up with, and it's been part of their life. And my generation truly just didn't have that. We had Desert Storm. It wasn't something that many of us were even paying attention to be honest. And we had 9/11. That was not something that we had to show up for and become active a part. It was actually in many ways uniting for the country. Mm-hmm. So it's just, this is the first couple years where this generation it's time for us to step up and be a part of it. And there's still a good group of this generation that are saying, well, I'm busy. I've got a job and 3 kids. Right. So it's baby steps to get them involved.
Well, to vote, and then a whole other problem trying to get people to run for office. Yes. That are under 65 years old. Yeah. Yes. There's lots of reasons why that is, but we end up with people, in their latter years making long-term strategic decisions that they're going to be long gone by the time they take effect.
Yes.
And so how do you encourage more youthful involvement, whether it's a school board or a city council?
I have wonderful people that want to run for city council, and they can't afford that kind of pay cut. And so how could we change that? I don't know how we could change it. I wish some of the money that we spend on campaigns could be spent on some of our good offices, elected offices.
Some of the money it takes to run for council or school board this day would be more than enough as an annual salary for most of these folks.
Absolutely. Oh,
just
of course.
Take it out of the campaign fold, right? Yeah, it could work that way, but I don't know how we get there at this point, It's almost probably impossible, yeah.
I got a couple ideas, but...
Do you? So as you continue on this road with advocating, who inspires you?
Oh,
great question, Don.
Oh, first comes to my mind is my husband. I know I probably should pick somebody that everybody else knows.
We know her husband because he was on the show once, right?
Yeah, yes.
Good guy.
He's just a great guy, a great leader. He's actually just recently been named the director of trauma surgery for a local hospital.
Was that a new promotion?
It's a new promotion.
Good deal.
And cool. He just stands up for what he believes in. So in fact, he's actually was on the board for Human Health and Development, Sex Education for SUSD. Carney actually tried to get him kicked off, saying he should be disqualified because he has been in commercials fighting for women's rights.
And
as a physician,
not because he's related to you.
Oh, I'm sure it had nothing to do with that.
Right.
But as a physician, as a Republican, and as a father of a daughter, he has a lot to say about women's rights and patients' rights. And he's also on the board for Arizonans for Gun Reform Arizonans for Reducing Gun Violence.
Okay.
So he's passionate about the things that are involved in his life, and of course, he sees gun violence all the time.
Yeah.
More than you guys would realize. Just last week alone, probably 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah. And so he just stands up for what he believes in. So I would say my hubby.
Who else?
Say my hubby.
We're gonna keep you going here for a minute.
Who else? Heather Cox Richardson. She is a historian who is on all different forms of social media historian, and she does a great job of educating people on in what I believe a nonpartisan way. And I just love great communicators that are out there doing the work of educating people about how to save democracy.
I would have to say there's plenty of people who would answer Shea for the same question.
Oh, how sweet of you.
So
I know that for
so
a
you
fact.
think so?
I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Go on, let's line them up here right now. I can tell you who they are.
Yeah.
At least some of them anyway. Probably a whole lot I don't know.
So Shea, you're turning as LeBron James, like saying, I'm taking my talents to. You're going to turn your attention to city council now?
So I am in small ways. I am helping to recruit and working to build a campaign team, because again, that goes back to if you have a really great campaign team, you can get higher caliber candidates. And so, yeah, I am. I will say I will not be spending full time on it. I will say school board, I was definitely 40, 50 hours a week at times. So there's going to be lots of people that need to step up to the plate and be a part of it. And so I know that there's lots of people that want to be a part of it and support good candidates. Our city council's a bit of a mess right now.
Just a bit, you think?
Yeah, is that because of the need? Obviously, their city council, but also the school board. I mean, there's no more bond initiatives coming up right now, right? There's no more. We just had one in 2022, 2023.
No overrides. There could be
overrides.
bonds that come up
Okay.
but I'm not aware of. But there's no overrides coming up.
So
for
you've
probably
kind of
4
done
years.
your work with the school board. They're in good shape for a couple of years.
Well, no, there's still
26 we have a
mean,
race, right? Does anybody have any terms up in
Yeah.
26? The two, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Both of them?
so we have two more. Yeah. So we have two seats up. Now we don't want to get ourselves into a situation like we had this last time, where if we had lost one seat, the board majority would have had they would have had the board majority, and that's. I'll give an example of what just recently occurred. We had new U.S. history curriculum, and the Carney and Werner are very opposed to this curriculum. Because it even mentions that Black Lives Matter was a movement that existed, that George Floyd was something, a situation that existed, and it doesn't go in depth, but it acknowledges these things. It acknowledges the Me Too movement, and so they really they really went after and attacked the curriculum and got a lot of people to write in. The funny thing is that when they get their supporters rallied up and get people to write in, they don't mention where they're from and what their school they're associated with. And that's because these are individuals from all across the valley that write in.
Right.
So
Across the country.
a board member said, I'm feeling quite pressured. We have over 50 emails that are really upset about this curriculum. And having a conversation with this individual, I reminded him that the goal of the board is first and foremost to make sure that the curriculum committee did their job. Was the curriculum committee formed properly, not cherry-picked, but formed properly? And did they do their due diligence in reviewing? And were the right people on it, the right professionals that are needed to be on it, on that curriculum committee? And then if they've done their job properly, then it's really actually not up to the board member to decide whether or not they like the curriculum. They don't have the qualifications to say so.
That's right.
So reminding that person that that's not really their job. However, just to flex a little, I'll show you support. And I reached out to our community of parents that care and other community members, and they wrote in at double the amount of emails, 100 emails in a matter of 3 days. And you guys know how hard it is to get people to move into action. That was a big number of people. And they indicated, I'm a parent at Cheyenne. I'm a parent at Cochise. I'm a parent at Navajo. And that gave that school board member the ammunition they needed to say, yep, okay, it's not just about listening to the constituents that I hear in one moment, because that doesn't tell the true picture. So, but again, it goes back to also a reminder: don't be swayed by the wind. What's the job? The job is to confirm that the curriculum was. But had we lost that majority, we would not have had that curriculum approved.
We have a new superintendent right now, probably too.
New superintendent, and the curriculum that would be put in would be right-wing propaganda.
Scary thought.
So
are there? We haven't talked a lot about candidates for 26 for the governing board.
We have no candidates. This is one of my goals of being on here, is planting that seed. We need candidates for school board, 100%. We need candidates and campaign team. And people need to know that being on a campaign team, there are so many skill sets that people don't realize that campaigns need, from photographers, graphic designers, marketing professionals, not even professionals, it can be a hobby, but you're damn good at it. There's so many treasurers, of course, bookkeeping skills. The goal is to plant some seeds here and get some great people.
I can think of somebody in this room that might be a good candidate. I'm not going to mention any names.
Oh, I will say, I have a list of 10 things to make a great candidate. And you're never going to get all 10 things. You just really aren't. But there is one that is non-negotiable, and that is disciplined messaging. And I will tell you guys what, I have too quick of a mouth. I am not disciplined in my messaging.
Yeah.
So I am good behind the scenes, not up on the dais.
Actually, I can think of 2 good candidates in this room, but I'm not
There we
going
go.
to mention any names.
There we go.
But it's not me. Let's go back to City Council for a second, where Kevin started us. What are we going to do about this? Can we find? It's going to be a critical election coming up. Can we find somebody that's capable of winning?
Well, you brought the conversation. Why don't we? Can we nudge him right now?
I just think it's interesting how much of a heavy lift that Shea was able to accomplish with the school board.
Mm-hmm.
If she can replicate that same thing with city council, which has been something that's been befuddling me and you, all of us, for years, how do you push back against this wave that has just really, really set root in the community, and people are doing crazy stuff and talking about crazy stuff? And if you can duplicate what you did for the school board on city council, we're gonna have a statue.
Well, that's the goal.
We
The
are.
goal
It's
is
a
to
winning
run.
formula.
The goal is to run a slate. Run a slate. The money goes 3 times as far. We have some great candidates in mind. At the same time, we're, as we did with school board, we actually will always ask a candidate, are you willing to give up the spot if we find a better candidate?
Oh, you asked them that?
Absolutely. And
Really?
the fact is that if the people that we're looking for are altruistic, and the fact that they would say, it's not about me, it's about the city, and it's about the seat.
That's
So
what
if
you
there
need.
is somebody that has both a better reputation or both, better resume and connections to the city and public service to the city, then perhaps we let that person run. And every single candidate I've spoken to that isn't seriously in the running, they have all said, absolutely. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about the seat, and it's about the city and what's right for the city.
If they say no, that's probably not who you want.
Then
as a
it's not who
candidate.
we want.
Yeah, it makes
100%.
sense. Yeah. Before we run out of time, what have we not asked you that you wanted us to?
Oh, gosh.
Freeform.
I don't know if I can answer that off the top of my head. I feel like I've said a lot.
Have we hit the issues that you think are important, the stuff that you guys are talking about when you do your meetings and so forth? And what have we not brought up that's a critical issue right now?
Well, I just, there are so many things that are critical right now. Of course, we're speaking with a lobbyist tomorrow on our Zoom because we really want to focus on what's happening with Prop 123 and education.
Right.
I guess I would say just it is so important for us all to not just think, oh, well, those people are in politics, they'll handle it. Shea Najafi's in politics, or Tammy Caputi or Solange, whoever it be, that they're going to handle it. I think we need to start taking more responsibility and also knowing that it's our job to be doing something, whether it's planting the seed and asking your neighbor who you know is this amazing, wonderful, retired teacher or superintendent that maybe they want to be on the school board. Walk over, have that conversation. And we have to remember, most candidates, it takes like being asked 5 to 7 times.
You're right.
So we have to start, keep planting those seeds. I'm considering this seed plant number 5 for you, Kevin, right now. It
I see
takes a
some
lot
growth
of.
over there. I think it's working.
It takes
I'm
a
gonna put some
lot
water on it here.
of planting, and eventually we will be able to see those. So if everyone does their part in keeping the communication open and not thinking that other people are going to handle it. Well, thinking that other people are going to handle it is exactly how we got in this situation.
Exactly right. Don't pass the buck.
That's right.
Can't
Let's
do
talk
it.
about your team just a little bit, because I think some people that need some shout outs. Talk about your team that helped you do that, and talk about the people behind Women Rising that's with you a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Emmy Cardella has been on my team for also for last year as well. She's a powerhouse in politics, has worked on many campaigns, and just an avid supporter of SUSD. She is the architect of the campaign, truly, and continues to be on anything that we work on. She is truly the architect. She's not as much the face. I think that myself, I'm the vocal one, and I'm the one out there a little bit
Which
more.
is funny because you consider yourself behind the scenes, but really, I think you're out there more than you think. Or,
Okay, I see what you're saying there, but when you have a team like that, everybody has to have different skill sets. We have Jennifer McDowell, who's
She's
a powerhouse in politics.
Yeah.
She's actually working on my PAC with me,
Okay.
along with matters of state strategies. So that's going to be wonderful. Again, the goal is, when it comes down to it, do I care if it's McCartney or Woods or Shaw who take that seat? I don't know that I care. I see I see small differences between them, but the point is we have to win that seat. The country needs that, and it's really up to us to finally do this. And so that's where we feel the money is best spent instead of dividing up. Because at this point, CD1 has something like 7 or 8 people that have filed statements of interest.
Already. I know
So at any point, when you donate to these candidates, it's a good shot that your money's not going to be using, that's not going to be used well, or it's not going to come to fruition. So that's where our efforts around a PAC to help win that seat and really focus and really message to voters about Schweikert and what he's doing is the goal, the ultimate goal.
Well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on today. It's great catching up with you. We've been looking forward to this moment for a while.
Yeah.
So it certainly didn't disappoint.
Thank you, friends.
Got a lot of new information. Hopefully you'll all be inspired by what she's doing and maybe get off your duffs and do some stuff with her. It's going to take a village to make progress in all this. But Shea, thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you
for
all.
our community, and we look forward to staying in touch with you as you continue to make progress.
I appreciate you guys so much for all you do in this community.
It's a pleasure. It's a great community. And thank you all for listening. We'll be back again with another episode next week of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.